I kind of lost count because there's like so many different areas.
Okay, so we'll
like,
say like forever.
Well,
More than 20 something years.
I'd say maybe 14, maybe 14, 15. No, more like 16, 17 years officially.
Okay, so I will go 20 plus somewhere. That
Okay.
I so feel like you're close to 20 years. All right, and
Yeah.
of course a lot of history behind you as well. We've heard from Alison. She was sharing with me off the air that she is strictly regarding marketing and promotion. You're dealing with websites and graphics design and all these different things,
Right.
these different areas. But today we're talking about the gospel music industry, the industry on a whole. We've seen so many, and we hear so many gospel artists coming out rapidly. It's rapid now.
That's right.
And in Trinidad, we have seen a change over the years. Before in Trinidad, you couldn't do a soca gospel.
Yeah.
That you couldn't do that. Something wasn't holy about that, you know. And coming out with a reggae gospel, that is something like, what is going on with these sinners out here?
Yeah.
That's how it used to be before. People would think like something is wrong with them, but now we have seen that the very hand of God, come on, His music, His worship, His praise.
Yes.
And we're seeing now different cultures, and we're seeing music has taken a different turn.
That's right.
It is very diverse, as you both would know.
Yes.
And now we've seen that our very own culture out of Trinidad is soca, calypso, but now God has raised up so many people regarding, divulging that soca music, gospel, and of course Kaiso gospel. We're getting it all.
That's
and it's a
right.
beautiful variety. The reggae gospel.
Yeah.
We have always had the R&B.
Yeah.
We've always had that, the contemporary. But today, I want both of you to really talk a bit about the industry. How is it? How difficult is it? We want to talk about the heartbreaks of it. How can we help the younger ones who are coming on the scene? They're fresh, they're new, and how do they compete with all that's happening out there? And
Yes.
still being able to be singled out. So let's start with the first one. How difficult is it in the music, the gospel industry, the music industry in a whole?
Yeah. Oh, what's so cool about what you just said? I'm from the Bahamas, and your experience here at Trinidad mirrors the Bahamian experience, and
Really?
our experience mirrors your experience as well.
Wow.
I grew up in a Methodist church.
Okay.
You could have a drum, period,
Yes.
in the church.
Yeah, and that was
Period.
something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one thing about the Methodist Church as well, because a lot of it is based on the hymns of John Wesley and Charles Wesley. As a teenager, when you learn about what they did back then, they took barroom songs, they took secular mainstream music, and they wrote those lyrics to it. So that was like the original remix. The Holy Spirit isn't doing anything new today. It's the same thing that was done back then with hymns that are considered to be standards and testaments of what gospel, what Christian music is, and worshiping God and just fellowshipping with each other as believers. So it's we see it with reggae, we see it with soca. Back in the Bahamas, we see it with chunkanu, with rake and scrape, parang. I think parang is awesome. So it's like
we have gone off the wall now with that whole parang thing. And it's coming up just now, in a few months from now, Christmas all over again.
Yeah, so there's a lot of similarities there. So in terms of new artists coming up, well, first and foremost, there's no need for competition. Right off the break, there's no need, because it's just so huge. The world is such a huge place, and with the technology, it's so easy for you to get your music out there. To be seen by many folks. It's just about getting the proper platforms in place so that people can find you, getting a little promotion going, being bold.
Yeah.
I mean, home is home, but
Yes.
there's no reason why you can't submit your music to an award show like the Caribbean Gospel Music Marlin Awards, or the Praise Factor People's Choice Awards out of Georgia, or the Stellas, the Doves. I mean, you can get your music out anywhere, literally, in the world. Book a flight, go over there, minister, and just fellowship and just grow it.
Is it as easy as it's coming across to us? Is it that easy?
Yeah, it really is, because it's about people, it's about connections, it's about relationships.
Right.
And there's so many crazy stories I've heard about people paying thousands of dollars just for somebody to tell them this is who you talk to.
Wow.
You know,
Mhm.
and I mean,
Really?
just the Trump
I'm seeing
names.
Alison shaking her head on it. So Alison will be coming your way in a little bit.
Yeah, just to drop names, you know, with no real plan or structure. Just, oh yeah, well, thank you, I received the payment. Go talk to this person, and you could jump on a plane for much less. Go to a conference, go to an event, go
And
to a
make your
music
connections
industry,
right there.
make your connections on your own.
Right.
Yeah, and when it comes to what we do, especially in the U.S., they absolutely love what we do. When we look at how many millions of people, hundreds of millions of people visit the Caribbean every year, it's not as if they have never heard soca or calypso or you know, Jungle Rican Scrape, reggae. They've heard the music, but they haven't heard uh, much in the way of the gospel representation of that music.
Wow. Well, I
Right.
guess you're enlightening us here this morning, and you're really enlightening. You're broadening my scope here today, so I'm
Amen.
thankful for that. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the platforms, because you spoke
Yeah.
about platforms. How do we set the right platforms for gospel artists on a whole who are coming up? Alison, talk to us a bit about that.
Well, I mean, in platforms, I guess you're talking about business type things that are going to help them succeed and move forward. Is that the direction you're going with this?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's important to have to develop a public persona. So it, you know, needs to be genuine, but you have to keep in mind that if you want to get out there and you want to stand on a stage and you want to minister to, you know, whether it's 50 people or 50,000 people, they have to understand, they have to know who you are. So you have to let them know who you are, and you have to do that typically before they get in front of you. So that's where marketing and promotions comes in. So having an internet presence is really, really big, especially if you're talking about trying to reach markets that are not close to you. So you're talking about regionally in the Caribbean or worldwide. The only way they're going to be able to get information about you is over the internet. So you have to have an internet presence, and you have to make that as authentic and as genuine to you as you can.
And that's
Excuse me.
important, as you're stressing on. It's critically important, as you would say, getting involved in all the social media and all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned about soca, and
Yes.
you know, they're not getting proper representation out there. They may love the song, but they want to see something. They want to see something happening.
Yes.
I mean, now I have seen, and to me, I've been listening a lot to it, and I've found that, you know, reggae has spiraled.
That's true.
Right? It's not just only in the secular. I'm talking about very much so in the gospel arena now. And let's talk a little bit about the soca aspect of it, because we're seeing reggae's out there now, but
Yes.
we want to talk about let's talk about Trinidad and what we have to offer out there. Let's hear from you on that.
All right. Well, you know, when it comes to things like that, you know, let's call some names. You know, let's talk about
They get excited when they hear our beats and our music and our sound. You know, I want to know that.
All right, check it out. You ever see like these little kids like from other countries, and they're here on vacation and they hear the music, and you see how they automatically move to the music?
Well, I often look at children. I say, when you look at children, children know their hits.
Yes.
You can tell from a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're not from the culture,
Right.
but as soon as they hear that rhythm,
They lit up.
as long as they could stand, and some of them they can't even stand yet, but their legs start kicking, and I mean, there's something about the music that's just universal, but it's such a beautiful representation of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Once people can hear the music, that's key, and it'll really help to make a big difference. But when it comes to like you guys spoke about a moment ago in terms of the platforms, you know, look at the fundamental ones. You have radio, you have television, you have print in terms of newspapers and magazines, online
So therefore, you're
publications.
saying we have to go all out. If
Everything.
you want something like this, you have to go all the way out.
Yeah, diversify.
What do you know, persons out there who are looking to sign, you know, groups, persons, what are they looking for in particular? Because sometimes I've heard people say, okay, we have great voices here in Trinidad and Tobago, but there are also great voices abroad as well. And sometimes you've got to match it up. A 25-year-old may be sounding really good, but then you take a 10-year-old and it's like, whoa, this 10-year-old is something else.
Yes.
How difficult is that even to get in there? Let's talk a little bit about that.
In terms of the structure that's set up in the U.S., for example, or in other countries, it is a bit hard to get signed per se. They already have millions and millions of artists and singers, but they also love our music, and they're trying to find ways of incorporating our music into what they do. So they're very open in many instances to collaborating with artists from the Caribbean or work with producers from the Caribbean in order to get that sound. If you look at mainstream music, a lot of the pop music, a lot of the hip hop now, they're using soca rhythms in that stuff, and they're using. It's like artists like Drake and all that stuff. I mean, they're literally taking the soca music, the rhythm of soca and the percussion vibes of soca, and infusing it into pop culture.
But that's true. We are hearing a bit of that, a lot of that, I should say, rather. We
Yeah.
also had this guy, Jonathan Nelson, who was here.
That's right.
He was at Glowfest in Tobago. And of course, we're hearing the little steel pan, the little Caribbean flavors in there. We're hearing the music in there, so we know it's infused.
Yes.
I want us to talk a bit about the heartbreaks, of course, in this industry.
Okay.
Because I'm sure that, a lot of persons have gone through heartbreaks in even whether they have started off on the platforms, what have you. There are heartbreaks in the business. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. That's the tough thing because there are two tiers of it. You're talking about broken relationships, and then you have those who have fallen away from the faith completely and adopted other things. You have artists who literally cannot afford to do another album. So the heartbreak comes in a lot of different forms. When it comes to just what artists do, though, I really feel as if there should be more appreciation and recognition for the sacrifice that every artist puts in.
You saying it's quite minimal right now? You don't think that we really give that appreciation to them?
No. It's not really a criticism, but it's everywhere in the world. Art isn't really valued and recognized until it's appreciated elsewhere.
Yeah.
Then they're like, oh, I knew them back
That's
then,
true.
and so on and so forth. But you're talking about folks who, for the most part, have day jobs. Some of them day and night jobs, and what little time they have left, they pour into their passion. They pour into the music, and it's so much more than just music. It's ministry, because hey, many of these guys and ladies could be secular and earning a lot of money if they compromise their values and their morals, but they choose to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And I feel as if it's something that they should gain a lot more recognition for, and a lot more support for. As simple as just going online and downloading, legally downloading their music, or sharing it, man. If you're friends with someone on Facebook and they have a concert coming up, it's no skin off your nose to share it to some of your folks. Help to get their music out there. I know artists who have gotten radio interviews internationally and TV interviews internationally, and they have no idea who did it.
Right.
All the person would say is that, well, someone from home saw you and they sent it to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a whole lot,
Right.
but that heartache can definitely be balanced out and even done away with. But the most important thing that you can do is to lift up your music ministers in prayer. That's like so important, because the things that they have to go through every single day, just in order to create that work and to present it to you, as an offering from to God first and foremost, but to you as listeners, you don't know. The devil hits you every way possible. He hits you in your home, your family. He hits you in your job. He hits you in your pocket. He tries to isolate you, so you among people and you feel alone. Many of your brothers and sisters, depending on the situations, they turn it against you and they don't even know why. You don't even know why it's happening. but we know that we serve an awesome, almighty God. And at the end of the day, as believers, interceding for our brothers and sisters, that could be incredible. I've even heard of incredible stories of Christians who say, instead of giving my tithes to this church, I'm going to sow that seed into your music ministry. When I first heard that, I was like, "Whoa, really?" Because I had to check myself and check my word. I had to check my word because I'm like, "Is that scripturally sound?" But tithes, even when it comes to tithes, it didn't say give your tithes to the church. It says give it to the ministry, give it to the saints. So, yeah, I mean, there are lots of things that we could do to make a difference and to make artists who create this work feel a lot less isolated in what they do.
Now, Keith, you and Allison, you're both here for some time. I don't know how much time you all have left in Trinidad, but I'm sure that people who are listening would want even to have you come in and chat with them and get more information from you.
Yeah.
I want the both of you to tell us even your visitation here in Trinidad.
Okay.
Your presence being here in Trinidad. Your stays here, not just to take vacation, I'm sure, but also to connect. Let's hear a little bit about that.
All right. Well, we were Alison and I. We were planning a Caribbean gospel music tour actually in the U.S. So we spent a month in North Carolina just planning that out, logistics and everything.
Right.
Allison, in terms of the Christian hip hop and the outreach ministries and so on and so forth, she was a bit more familiar with that aspect of it than the Caribbean gospel. And so I think I sent her about 500 songs?
Probably.
just say, okay, these are the 500 you need to know. Just as an intro. And then the Caribbean Gospel Music Marlin Awards was March in Bahamas. So came down to the Bahamas. She got to experience that. Of course, that's founded by Kevin Harris. A lot of people know him as Stormy K from System 3 down here in Trinidad. And then, of course, I kept saying, you got to come to open house. You got to come to open house.
So you were here for open house.
So we came for open house.
How did you enjoy that?
Oh, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Yeah, it definitely was. It was. Everybody did a great job. I really enjoyed all the performances. We got to, some of the people I already had met at the Marlin Awards, but it got introduced to a whole lot more people, and then rekindled relationships with the people that I had met the month before, and it was really an awesome time in the Lord. It was great. The ministry that, the passion that everybody has for the gospel and for evangelism is amazing, and it's very encouraging to be a part of that. Yeah.
And Alison brought her family too. I mean, she didn't just come solo. She literally brought her family with her, so that they could also experience it for the first time.
That's right.
And the first time out of the U.S. at all. They came to Trinidad and Tobago to experience open house.
Yeah. Well, so we came in April and then we haven't gone home.
Yeah.
Wow, sweet home.
Yeah.
I hope you got some taste of doubles and stuff. And if not, we're going to hook you up with Mickey, because I mean he knows he's a doubles connoisseur. But anyhow, just kind of switch it back here. I really want you all to give us a little bit. You have a testimony. I heard through the grapevine that you've got a testimony. Ooh. And I'm sure you all have a book of testimonies to give.
There's too many for this program.
I heard there was a particular testimony that something had taken place, something took place with you. I can't remember. Could you just, it was back at home. You can probably enlighten us a bit about that, Alice. Yeah.
Back at home.
We want to hear.
Well, there was, I'm not sure exactly which testimony you're talking about. Okay.
It's something with your home.
Yes. It was after I got here to Trinidad, and found out that probably the week before we were supposed to go back home.
Yeah.
Like the same week we were supposed to go back home, something like that.
Literally.
Found out that all kinds of crazy stuff was happening back at home, and we had to move, and I'm here. And all this is taking place, and all kinds of stuff going on with my landlord, our lease had expired, and he didn't want to renew it, and he wanted to sell the property, and it was a big rush to make all this happen, and I was just like, what in the world is going on? So having to just kind of arrange all of that, and then realizing, it's a really pretty detailed story, but just in a nutshell, realizing that there really wasn't a place a reason for me to go back to North Carolina right now. And so it just, and we were meeting so many people and so many artists here and so many ministers of the gospel and hooking in, and other people that are involved in the industry. And I said, you know what, we're just going to continue. We're just going to roll with this. And we're just going to see what happens here in Trinidad with this whole thing. And so that's why my stay has been extended. Because there's, right now there isn't a place back home for us. So so we're here. I mean, we're arranging, you know, all of that. God will, you know, make all that happen.
But you know, the funny thing about this is that you're here, and you're not just here by accident or incident.
No.
God is connecting you. And you know, of course, when you're doing his work, he's doing his work on the side, of course, on behalf of you as well.
That's right.
You know, let's talk about the do's and don'ts in this industry, because
sorry,
the
one
do's
thing.
and the don'ts. Yes.
I got to interject one little thing. Tell them what God told you.
Oh my gosh.
Before we even came here.
Before I came here, before I even came here, a week or two before, and I was thinking about things and how to arrange things, and my kids coming out of the country, and what do I need to bring, and getting our packing list together, and we're just going to be gone for a few. We were planning on going on a couple other places. It was that's why. There was a couple other places we might have gone, like leave Trinidad and go here and go there and go there.
Because after this, we were going to Barbados Gospel Fest.
Yeah, depending on how things go.
Yeah.
All right.
So I said, I don't know what I have to bring, and how long are we going to be gone? And I heard God tell me, pack like you're not coming back.
Wow.
And I just sat back like, wait, what? What?
Yep.
What do you mean, pack like I'm not coming back? And he already had been dealing with me about homeschooling my children again. Because I had done that for a long time, and then I got involved in trying to work outside the house and kind of left the business alone for a little bit and went and got a 9-to-5 kind of job. And I had to put my kids back in school because I couldn't educate them myself anymore. And it was this whole big thing, and God had already been dealing with me for months about, you're going to have to bring these kids out. You're going to have to take them back out. You're going to have to keep them back home with you. And so all these things have lined up. And so then when I got here, that's why it was such a big deal. When I got here and all this stuff happened, and I was like, well, then we're staying.
But that's a faith moment, and I'm sure you know. I'm glad that you brought that up there, Keith, for to say that, because you don't know who's listening to you this morning, and they can probably just be, you know, encouraged just by that, by you hearing God saying, "Pack like if you know you're not going back." Now that could be a little hard for some to swallow.
Yes.
But you are here with your family, as Keith would have mentioned.
Yeah.
I really want you all to tell us about the do's and the don'ts in this whole industry. Folks who are out there and they have questions, by the way, you can send your questions now, 275-1981. Do you all have contact numbers for those who may want to contact you after the end of this program? Okay.
Definitely.
So let's talk a little bit about that, Keith.
Okay. Talk about the do's and don'ts of the industry. All right. No matter where you go, don't look and don't only think of the people in that room. Take steps to capture that moment so that you can share it with people who aren't present. Whether that's taking photos on your phone, recording some video, streaming it, because what you're sharing in that space isn't always only for that space. Even if you don't do any of those things, the fact that people can leave that space and speak about what God did in that space when you were there is a form of sharing. Social media is just making it easier, and the technology makes it easier for us to do what human beings naturally do when we communicate.
Yes.
So utilize these things, because you have no idea how far it's going to travel and who it's meant to touch and bless. And in the church, and especially Christians, got a problem with that. They got a problem with taking selfies and sharing. They really do, because they do not want to appear as if they're being vain. They do not. It's a huge thing, and it ties in with the whole promotion versus ministry thing as well. You know, am I promoting me or am I promoting Christ?
So I guess we have to be taught right.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes you can have the incorrect thinking about going about it, and there are some who have abused the system as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to know how to market that thing right and how to teach others properly how to go about doing this.
That's right. Yeah, I agree. So that's a huge thing. Number two, don't create music only for where you are. Create music for the world. For the world.
That's big.
Now, if you want people to get a slice of your culture, great. Do it. And do it well. Do it with excellence. Never think that what you do and what you have isn't good enough for the world. Because let me tell you, the world is so hungry for what the Caribbean has to offer in terms of culture and music and our testimonies, they are hungry for it. So share it, take pride in it, and do it well, do it with excellence. So that's some of the stuff I would advise. Take criticism. You'd be amazed how many people come to me, ask for a consultation or ask what I think about something, and they're like, well, thank you for telling me that, but God told me to do it this way, and da 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 da. I was like, okay, but why did you ask me to
So you can
assess
take
and
constructive
critique?
criticism. Learn to take
Yeah,
that. Do you think that
yeah.
there are people out here who really just can't? They're so caught up in themselves. They don't want to hear someone else's view.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'm like that myself. I mean, we're human. Yeah, we're human. We're human. So we all have to acknowledge that we all fall into that mode sometimes, and you have to listen to the Holy Spirit, and accepting wise counsel in Scripture, too.
Okay.
So it's very important to do all those things.
Well, I've got a big question for you all this morning. I'm
Yeah.
putting you on the spot. Someone said, I really love Isaac 98, but why are they using the unholy things to praise God? Where did soca music derive from? When I go to a positive concert, it is no different than a martial concert. So, only thing they have Jesus in their song.
Yes.
So they're saying, why are they promoting soca music when that comes across very secular? So I'm putting you both in the hot
Yes.
seat this morning of that, because that is a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me answer that, because coming from, you were talking about in the Caribbean, the soca and your rake and scrape and things like that, your cultural music that you have, it started with secular, and the religious and the Christian people didn't accept it. And in the United States, we can say the same thing in my generation with rap and hip hop, and it was very much looked at as the devil music. And so
Rock
when
and roll.
they, yeah, well, yeah, that too. And when people came and started doing things about Jesus with it, it took a long time for the churches to accept this as okay. And what I can say about that is that, music is holy in and of itself. And it has been a long time where Satan has had control of that medium. And it's such a powerful thing, because not just about what you hear, but it's also just, it creates ideas, and it creates emotions, and it just drives so much. And so it's a very, very powerful medium. And it can be used for good as well as evil. And Satan has had control over this, certain areas of it, for a long, long time. And I've just really felt in my spirit for many, many years now, which is why I got involved in this whole thing, that this is a time where God is taking his stuff back. And he's like, this is not okay anymore, and this whole entire world has been, the Satan's domain since it was created, basically. And God is now pulling pieces of that back to himself. And he's saying, this is mine. This is mine.
Give me that, so
Yeah.
it can bring honor and glory to my name.
Right.
Yes.
I'm happy that you've really touched on that. You want to say something really
No,
more on that?
that's fine.
Sure. Yes.
And when it comes to David and playing the harp, just him playing the harp casts demons out. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to music, especially from a godly perspective and a Christ perspective, there's no telling what demons, what spirits, what weight is cast off of people. So we have a responsibility to do that as believers. That's a big part of why music is so important in churches. It's about ushering people into the presence of God and preparing them to receive the word of God via music. And one thing we have to take really seriously as well, with this new medium called the internet, with all this radio stuff and media from medium in the air, all that stuff flying around, you're no longer encroaching upon the territory of demonic principalities where you live. The moment your stuff starts hitting the airwaves and the internet, you are hitting demonic principalities everywhere that music is heard and played. So you may be thinking you're dealing with one principality in home, whether that's Bahamas or Jamaica or Trinidad. You may be dealing with 50.
That's right.
Because you hitting them where they live, because of the music and the reach of the music via the medium. So it's that big of a responsibility. And so again, when it comes to the support, the spiritual support, the financial support, whatever kind of support that you can give to your music ministers, please do so. Because at the end of the day, they on the front lines. I don't know how army worked in the Old Testament with the Israelites, with the musicians in front. Because any kind of war I see, the people in the front are the first people to get killed. But but the army is like they had the musicians in front of the soldiers. How does that work? I don't know. But there's a principle. There's something spiritual about it, and God is doing it throughout the world today. And so, just what you do, and what Isaac does in terms of providing the platform for these music ministers to reach the planet and to influence the world. Thank you. That is so critical. What you do, DJ Mickey, so many others here. It's way deeper than we think about every day.
I thank God for the platform as well, because that's how we're able to get those things out, and even having you both here to even, share and to also broaden the scope, the minds of others. I tell people, if you go to Jamaica,
Yes.
you're going to get reggae worship. You're going to get it like that, and that's just how it is, So,
Yes.
at the end of the day, I like the fact that how you spoke about that, Alison. You said, we've got to take it back.
Yeah.
Take back.
And it brings to mind the scripture in the Bible. I believe that it was Paul who had the vision about the tablecloth coming down from heaven and it having the unclean meat on it, and saying, and God saying, eat. And
No,
he
it's
said,
Peter.
no. Was it Peter?
Peter saying that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And God
Yes.
says, tell him eat. And he said, but this is unclean. He said, what I have blessed, is sanctified, or whatever that is. And I think it's the same principle with this kind of thing. And people need to understand that that's where it's coming from.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is where we are wrapping things up. I want to say thank you both for being on Isaac 98.1 FM, sharing a bit of the music industry, talking about the do's and the don'ts, talking about the platforms, the marketing, the promotion, and more or less too as well, keeping that balance, not compromising, because you spoke about that, Keith,
Yes.
earlier on, not compromising your standards regarding God, standing your ground. And you also said that is what sometimes makes it so difficult for others. But if you continue to stand your ground, God will make a way for you. I was listening to something, an interview by CeCe Winans, and she was stating that, they questioned her on that, and she said that this particular gospel artist said he had asked her to come on board and to sing with her. He wasn't a gospel artist, he was a secular artist.
Okay.
And she said she placed her voice on the track, and then she said, you know what, I can't compromise. I just can't do that.
Right.
So I'm going to stand my ground. He said it hurt, but I gave her more respect for the fact that she stood her ground. So thank you so much for sharing so much with us here on Isaac 98.1 FM, The Promise. In closing, can you please give your numbers, because there are people out there who would want your numbers, who would want your contact.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a Trinidad contact. I got a Trinity number, like they say. 689-6931. Again, that's 689-6931.
Yeah. And you can WhatsApp me at 336-512-9283.
33651
512-9283.
33651
No, 336-512-9283.
9283. Okay, gotcha. And Keith, you're 689-6931.
That's right, 689-6931. It's so new that I haven't memorized it yet.
Thank you so much, Keith and
Thank you.
Alison, for being on board Isaac 98.1 FM this morning. You have enlightened us much, and thank you so much for, not keeping us in that place of ignorance, but really opening our eyes and our ears to hear what's happening out there. 4 minutes away from 9 o'clock. Going to take a break.